Microsoft reports its fourth quarter numbers today. Last quarter, AI was mentioned 45 times on that earnings call. Joining us right now with more on the AI landscape and what to expect is Geoff Lewis. He's the founder of Bedrock Capital. Bedrock counts OpenAI, Plaid, and Bitcoin in its portfolio, lots of other names as well. But, Geoff, we want to talk to you specifically about AI because you were an investor in OpenAI long before ChatGPT came along. So what did you see there, and what did you think with that Microsoft investment?
Absolutely. Well, Becky, we did invest back in 2021 when, folks said it was somewhat of a crazy science project or a, sort of half pseudo nonprofit company or something like that. What we saw back then, in addition to just an incredible founding team with Sam Altman and the team that he'd assembled, was really a shot at being the foundational model, the core infrastructure play for really AI becoming sort of a true societal transformation over many decades to come. So our bet was that they would be the foundational model, part of the core infrastructure alongside players like NVIDIA for AI. And we believe that, the ChatGPT launch and everything that's happened since, the speed at which they've been shipping products since, sort of validated that core thesis. We're delighted to be investors and quite excited about how things are going there.
Compare what you're hearing now with this AI craze with what we've seen in the past, whether that comes with cryptocurrency, whether that comes with .com and all the things we saw at the turn of, the last century.
Yeah, I feel very lucky to have lived through what I believe are now three great bubbles in technology. So the .com bubble, I was a young sort of high schooler and entering college. There was a core truth with that bubble, which was that the internet would fundamentally transform society. But the only ways to make money from that core truth retrospectively were probably if you were investing in the public markets in sort of 97, 98, 99. You would have wanted to buy Amazon. You would have wanted to buy eBay. I don't think you would have wanted to buy much else back in that bubble. Then the crypto bubble of sort of the 2015 to maybe 2021 or 2022. There was also a core truth there, Becky. There was a core truth with that bubble that a decentralized world enabled by cryptocurrency, I think, would be a better world. But at the same time, despite all those ICOs and NFTs and everything that launched, really, Bitcoin and Ethereum seem to be the two things that have really still endured. And, today, I think similarly, analogously, we are living through just a massive AI bubble. And then the question is, what are the one, two, or three names that on the other side of this are going to capture the overwhelming majority of the value? So there's money to be made on the way up, but ultimately the bubble does pop at some point.
Talk really quickly about a couple other companies that you think have similar prospects or good prospects like OpenAI.
I mean, I think there are several. The public really doesn't have access to that many. I'd say if you're in the public markets today, what you want to be investing in are big tech incumbents that are effectively integrating AI very rapidly into their offerings. So obviously, I'm on the record as being very bullish Microsoft. I think on this program back in February, I suggested your viewers take a look at NVIDIA. I think that one still, even though it's rallied, 150% plus to date, I think there's a lot of room for that to run their true core infrastructure. And then really the incumbents that have distribution into businesses, into companies, everything from Oracle all the way on down. I think a lot of these last wave companies are going to really be able to benefit from AI. And then in the private market, there are three areas where we as sort of private markets investors see a lot of activity. One is obviously foundational models. OpenAI does have some competitors there, whether it's Anthropic, $1.5 billion valuation in the private markets, Depth AI. That's sort of an interesting space. We'll see who wins. There's also a big question around is open source. The idea that there's closed models versus open source models. OpenAI would be a closed source type play. There's things like Stability AI that are open source. I'm a little bit skeptical about that one, but they have grown very quickly. So that's one sector. There's AI hardware infrastructure. Again, we think NVIDIA is going to be the major winner there, but there are challengers to NVIDIA in the private markets like Celestial AI, Light Matter, which are working on building chips. And then there is this crazy wave among venture capitalists around sort of AI chatbot applications. And so you have everything from Inflection AI valued at $4 billion. You've got character AI, which is growing quite quickly. We just focus on letting folks have conversations with historical figures and sort of scan celebrity figures. And so there are lots of investing, lots of activities. A lot of these are going to end up being acquired or go out to the public markets, and many of them are going to end up being trapped. So I think folks need to be very cautious.